I'm professor of political science at Chapman University. I earned my PhD in political science at the University of Southern California and taught at Austin College in Sherman, Texas for 7 years before coming back home to California to take this position at Chapman. You know, in high school she was a Goldwater girl, so she was a Republican, and which was not uncommon for that, you know, I would say that demographic at that point in her life in the early 60s. Well, I think from what I've read about her, it was really when she was in high school as a Goldwater girl out campaigning for Barry Goldwater, but then it was when she got to Wellesley as an undergrad where she really kind of got in touch with a more liberal viewpoint. And so she gave the commencement address at her graduation at Wellesley, and it made national news because she basically made a pretty strong political statement about where the country was at that point in terms of the Vietnam War, in terms of free speech and everything that was going on in the late 60s, early 70s in this country. One of the interesting things I find about her career is that she was really on track to have a stellar career all on her own. And so she, after graduating from Yale with a law degree and working in Washington on, she was working on the Watergate investigation committee. I don't remember if it was the House or the Senate. I think it was the House. But she leaves that to marry Bill Clinton. So she leaves that to go move to Arkansas and to marry him and to support his political career. So a lot of people have said about her over the years that she was well on her way to having a pretty prestigious career on her own. She really didn't need to, kind of attach her star to Bill Clinton, because she would have been a rising star all on her own. I know that Bill Clinton ran for Congress in Arkansas in 1974, and it looked like he had a shot of winning the seat until Richard Nixon resigned. So Nixon resigns in August 1974, and it kind of took the wind out of the sails of Clinton as a Democrat running for the seat in Arkansas, because suddenly, what he was running against is no longer there. So he loses that seat, that election, and then he actually gets elected Attorney General in Arkansas in 1976. And I believe it's somewhere between there. They got married in 1975, 1976, right around there. So he starts his career in Arkansas. So he's Attorney General for 2 years, and then he gets elected governor in 1978. So Hillary's still pretty young at that point. And then, what's she going to do in terms of her career? And not only has she always been such a strong political advisor to him, but then she, and again, I'm not clear on exactly the dates, but she starts working for the Rose Law Firm. But she's First Lady of Arkansas, but she's also working at this law firm, but working on a lot of the other issues that are important to her, like education, issues involving children. And she was, for the most part, most people would say, a very effective First Lady of Arkansas. So he wins the governor's race in 1978, and at that point it's a 2-year term. So he loses re-election in 1980. So between 80 and 82, he's not in office, and so they kind of retool his career, and most of the experts, the people close to them, say that she's the one who basically got him back on track and got him re-elected governor in 1982. And then he's governor from 82 to 92 until he's elected president. And so it's during that time that she's doing a lot in terms of, policies within Arkansas and really raising the standard, because Arkansas is one of the, the worst states in terms of education, in terms of poverty and all of these things. And so she's very committed to improving public schools in Arkansas, and just so many of those, public policy issues that tend to get, worked on at the state level, and she is a very active, involved First Lady of Arkansas during that time period. She makes her national debut, if you will, during their interview with 60 Minutes, right after the Super Bowl, early 1992, because his campaign's in trouble. The Jennifer Flowers story has hit, and they decide to do this very big interview with Steve Croft on 60 Minutes. I mean, as the lead-in from the Super Bowl, it's a pretty big audience, and that's where she makes her national debut. And that was her, interview where she's talking about Tammy Wynette, how she's not just standing by her man, and right from the start, it was obvious that she was very much involved in the campaign in terms of advising and, kind of setting the stage for what he's going to do. But right from the start, also, she became a very divisive figure. And even to this day, I think people either love her or they hate her. There's not a lot of in between there. And so even in 1992, during that campaign, the issue of, she was going to be a different kind of first lady. We had not had a first lady that had had a career, someone who is educated with a law degree like Hillary Clinton. And so Bill Clinton was campaigning in 1992, basically saying you get two for the price of one. This is going to be a co-presidency, that you get me and you get Hillary, and we're going to do all of these great things. And some people were really excited about that, and other people just thought that is just not what we want. So she was just divisive like that right from the start. So towards the end of the summer in 1993, his first year in office, he announces that she is going to head up the entire healthcare reform initiative, because he campaigned on that. We were going to reform healthcare. So he gives a big address to Congress. I think it was August 1993, where he's basically saying this is the plan. He holds up this mock coverage card and says this is the kind of health coverage we're all going to have when we do this. And he says, I've picked someone who knows so much about this to head it up, and it's my wife Hillary, and she's going to do great things for the American public. But about a year later, healthcare reform was dead on arrival in Congress, even though it was controlled by Democrats. And so her style of how she went about it and the strategy she used just didn't work out too well. And so after that was a huge failure for her career, for the Clinton administration. And so in the fall of 1994, Democrats lose the House and the Senate. Well, anything good that she has done since he left office only enhances his legacy. Yeah. I've done some research at the Clinton Library. I was there a year ago, and if you've ever gone through the museum there, you go through any presidential museum, and there's always a lot in one particular area that's devoted to the First Lady, to family, but Hillary Clinton is a part of so many of the aspects of Bill Clinton's presidency on so many levels that you just really don't see in terms of first ladies. No one has been as involved in a very public way as Hillary was in terms of all of the policies and just every angle of the Clinton administration. She has been a trailblazer, whether you like her or not. She's the first woman to be a nominee for president from a major party. She has helped us as a nation be very used to seeing a woman running for president, where we might not have the first woman president with her. But I do think that opened a door for a lot of future women running for president, because it's not a novelty anymore. Be committed to the things that matter to you, and be passionate, and be smart about how you want to get into politics. There's a lot of talk now about, and some political science research suggests that one of the things really holding us back in terms of electing a woman president is that we don't have enough women running for office anymore. So we don't have enough women at the lower levels who are then working their way up to be in a position to be considered as someone's running mate or to run for president. I would guess if she's going to be out there talking with younger women especially, that she's going to reinforce to them how important it is that they get involved, that they run for office. There's so much talk over the last 20 years that we need to reach parity in terms of the number of women in Congress and the number of women in all of these positions, and we've got a long ways to go. For all the progress we've made, we're not even close to parity. So I would guess, and this is another positive thing I think that she could contribute, is to say to a college-aged woman who is thinking about getting into politics, look at everything I've dealt with, and here I am still standing. And these are the things that I can still do in the rest of my career. And, don't let all of the haters and the detractors, get in your way. If you want to do something, you just go and do it. Because, politics is not it's pretty rough and tumble, hardball kind of career anyway. So her tenacity and her just ability to survive it is pretty impressive.